Hi, I'm Annie Botticelli, and this is the Storyteller Forecast for Virgo for January 2016. Check out my website and new blog at anniehelpsyou.com. And while you're there, you can see more about my Creating a Successful Online Business course that is enrolling now. So check it out. So what is going on in January? We've got a new year as far as the solar-based calendar. If you've listened to my horoscopes for at least a year, you know that I am not into feeling like January is a new year. It's astrologically not a new year, especially the energy of having retrogrades during the month of January even makes it further from feeling like a new year. So if we didn't have Mercury retrograde encompassing all of January, I could let it slide that it wasn't a new year, and just kind of move on with whatever the transits are. But it's really important to understanding the energy of the time to know that although everyone in marketing land is going to be trying to make you do everything new and launch everything new and make all these big decisions and spend all this money on everything new, there are certain things that's going to be helpful for. But there are certain things that you need to wait to launch these things. Now, if you're launching something new that is like a really big deal, then you probably don't want to do it in January. What Mercury retrograde is good for is studying, educating yourself, teaching, learning, researching, resting, analyzing, going back over things. So if the new thing you're going to do has to do with a short-term venture, educating yourself, reanalyzing or going back over old things, then have at it. That's perfect energy. Sometimes people think that they can't do anything when Mercury's in retrograde, and it's just not true. You can see more about what to do and what not to do during Mercury retrograde in my Mercury retrograde video, which you can search for Annie Botticelli Mercury retrograde. So back to this whole New Year thing. The astrological New Year starts when the Sun moves into Aries at the end of March. Capricorn, which is the planet that many signs are, or planets are going, Capricorn is the sign that many planets are going to be in January. And it's a very ambitious placement, so it can be very productive. It's just not a blasting forward New Year time. That's the point that I want to get through to you. If you're watching this video and it's still December and there's something you really got to get out there, you've got plenty of time in December to do that. You've got the first 3 weeks of December that have a lot of dates that are good for launches. Some dates not as good for launches. You can listen to the reports for December that I made, and also when you go to my website anniehelpsyou.com and sign up for my free email newsletter, you get a write-up of the month ahead and the dates that are good and challenging good and challenging that way. So you can corroborate your launch dates with that information as well. But in any case, you've got to either do it in December before it gets towards the end, like towards the holiday time, or you've got to wait until the middle of February or so before you start launching things, okay? That is my point. So what does the chart look like for specifically for Virgo? If you are an early degree placement, if you've listened to my videos for a while, you know I've been breaking down the readings into early, middle, and late degree. I'm going to give you a little bit more information on how to use that information that I give you. If your birthday is between around August 23rd, 24th, through around September 2nd, you are an early degree placement. So whenever I talk about early degree placements, that's you. If you're earlier in that time frame, you're an early degree. If you're later in that time frame, you're a later early degree. You see that's your spectrum for early. If your birthday is around September 2nd through around September 12th, then you're a middle degree placement. And if your birthday is from around the 13th through the rest of Virgo, then you're a late degree placement. If you're looking for your rising sign, then look between about 0 and 10 degrees is early, and about 11 to 19 is middle, and about 20 to 29 is late, okay? So early degree placements, you're going to have the Sun already have moved into your 5th house. The Sun, wherever it goes, brings vibrance, it brings focus, it brings energy. And you early degree placements are going to experience all the transits before the middle and late degree placements. The exceptions to those things are like the eclipses or the new moon and the full moon. Those are going to be one finite event in one place. So they're not like moving transits like the rest of the ones that we're tracking here. So what I'm about to describe, you early degree placements have going on now. You middle degree placements will have going on very soon, and you late degree placements will have a little bit of a stagger, close to a month before you start experiencing this, but it is coming for you. And this is energizing the fifth house. And actually really to all of you to some degree will have this energizing in the fifth house, because those of you that don't have the sun there have Mercury there. So it's something or something else that is activating this space. Mercury brings energy and mobility and movement and communication and expression. And the fifth house is the playing field. So the fifth house has to do with children, your own and others, ventures involving children. It has to do with creative projects, hobbies. For some people, their projects are their babies. Some people have babies and their creative projects are still like babies. Anything that you're birthing or that you've birthed, anything involving pregnancy or conception, anything involving drama, like thespian types of things, you know, acting, also singing, dancing, athleticism, those kind of things are in the fifth house. Hobbies, games, and this is also the house of true love, so, and romance. So this is the sector that's starting to be activated here as we get into January. And so even though Mercury is retrograde, there could be a good bit of fun to be had. And perhaps it's making that link between, okay, maybe I don't have to do so much. Maybe Mercury is giving me this sign to take a break, and then you can tap into this energy of fun that's in your fifth house. So that's a theme that's going to be strengthened, because there are going to be more personal planets that are joining the other ones here. Periodically, they're going to be moving through. Venus is going to come through eventually. Mars is going to come through eventually. So you have this theme of just bringing more fun into your life. You know, the more you can disconnect from the extra busyness that you have, it's would become an addiction, basically, being addicted to being busy, the more you'll see fun start to seep in to your daily experience. So this is a really good time for that. There's also strong emphasis for all of you. For some of you, for you early degree placements, you've got Venus there. For you middle degree placements and late, you have the sun there. The fourth house. The fourth house has to do with your home, your physical home, real estate, your house, your where you feel like home is. So it can be a place, you know, that feels like home to you, whether it's a house or a location or something like that. Your ancestry, your roots, your childhood, things from childhood. So there's a strong focus on this energy. And it could also be real estate projects or things involving homes, like construction or design projects, things like that. So you'll get a little boost here in January from one planet or another. As I said, regardless of your placements, all Virgos have this movement here. And so maybe you're scaling back a little bit to focus on your home. Maybe your home has gotten to be majorly cluttered and disorganized, and you just want to spend a little time doing some little projects. Now, Mercury retrograde is not a great time to do a lot of shopping. So as far as sprucing your house up, it's not really the best time to buy new things or like make decisions about designs if you can help it. But certainly cleaning, organizing, moving furniture, things like that are really well placed when there's activity in this house. So a long-term theme that's been going on is Jupiter is in your sign. This happens for about 1 year every 12 years. And so we really can't talk about this enough, because you don't get a chance like this very often. Jupiter is the great benefic. It's the bringer of optimism and benevolence and grace and ease and good luck and expansion and growth. And you have that if either in your energy of your rising sign or with the energy of your sun, or if you're watching for your moon. But wherever your Virgo placements are, and maybe you have more than one, the more Virgo placements you have, the more you'll be affected over the year of this transit, which is about September of 2015 through around September of 2016. So every time Jupiter comes to a degree that is the same as a planet that you have, it crosses over it. And the closer it is in connection, the more power it has. So early and middle degree placements still very much have Jupiter expanding that sense of self, that self-esteem, that things involving your physical body, your image, things like that. You later degree placements, most of you still have Jupiter in your 12th house. It's such a beautiful thing to watch the cycles of the planets. You know, every planet, wherever it is, it's building on where it was just, and it's preparing for where it's going to go next. You know, it's this beautiful rhythm. So before it got to the first houses of you early and middle degree placements, it went to where it is for you late degree placements now, which is the 12th house. And the 12th house is the last house. And it's the one of completion, of quiet, of peace, of connectedness. It's this place where you go very much internal. It's a very intuitive space. So it's like you're expanding your connection to the divine in anticipation of this time when you're going to burst forward into something very new. And so your later degree placements, you're not quite at the stage where it's bursting out into something new yet, but you will be there. And taking this quiet time to evaluate where you are, where you want to be, where you're going, what trajectory you're on, and how you have to shift the trajectory to get to where you want to be. Those are the questions to ask when Jupiter is in the placement for the late degrees, so that when it comes to where it is for the early and middle degrees, then you have a more clear picture of charging forward. Now, if you didn't have this information and you have an early or middle degree placement, then that's okay, because you can spend the time now in redoing that work and saying, okay, where am I? Where do I want to be? What are the obstacles that are interfering with where I want to be? You know, most people have problems with self-esteem. It's unfortunate, but it is a human condition that we have. And this is one of your best transits for improving your self-esteem. So it's very, very, very exciting, you know, so doing deep inner work, healing, you know. I can't talk about astrology without talking about spirit. The reason why I do astrology is because I'm focused on spiritual work. And so as far as just astrology on its own, I'm not interested in that unless it is assisting you with your spiritual experience in the world, you know. How are you going to create the things you want in line with what the highest expression, the divine, wants for you? Those are the questions that I ask. And so I like to use these transits to help you move on your path. Everyone has a unique purpose here. We're all completely different, even if we have the same charts, even in the charts of multiples. There are potentials that are manifesting for each of those people in a way that's completely unique than for their sibling. You know, it's just magical. It's so magical. And so when you've got Jupiter in your sign, it's just a bubbly, effervescent fairy godmother that wants to take you on its broom or wings, or I don't know, whatever fairy godmothers do, and help you soar above the things that were problems for you in the past. And there will be some luck involved where you can take some shortcuts when Jupiter is involved. But usually you have to do some work. And the reason for that is because you can't create on the outside anything that's different than what you are on the inside. So if you have certain fears, if you have certain beliefs, if you have certain blocks, you're not going to be able to create a life without those things as long as you have those things. And that's what Jupiter wants to help you do. It wants to help you find, locate, clear the issues and the blocks so that you can step into your next level of conscious evolution. So we have all that going on. So overall, January is not the month to be launching your things out into the world, but it is a fantastic month to be launching into yourself. We've got some challenging aspects with the Sun and Uranus on January 7th. We have a square there, a square with the Sun and Uranus on January 7th. We have a square between the 20th and the 22nd with Mercury and Uranus. And you know, Uranus is this jostler. It's this planet that's the wild card. It brings things in out of the blue. Sometimes it brings things out of the blue that are really exciting and wonderful, but when there are these aspects like a square that are challenging, it doesn't seem like the news is very good. However, there is always going to be a way that you can use this as a catalyst for your soul's growth, any which way around it. And so squares are like the discomfort that makes us stop accepting things as just okay and helps to propel us into the path of the extraordinary. You know, that's how I see a square. And I'm not sugarcoating it, because squares are challenging. They bring problems, they bring annoyances, they bring difficulties. There's no doubt about it. It's uncomfortable, it's awkward. And so you're going to have some of that. But if you use it the right way, then you can propel yourself on the, you know, on the path of your dreams. If you think about it, think about how many stories, maybe you have some of your own, maybe you've heard other people's stories. I could list a million of them right now, that something challenging that someone was dealing with helped them to get to where they are right now. And they would not have been able to get to that place if they didn't have that challenge. So you've got these challenges. But when there's this type of energy along with the retrograde, it's again just not a time to be forcing too much expression out into the world unless it's a continuation of something you've already been doing that started before the transit, unless it's a reevaluation. If it's something ongoing or it's something short term, then you might be able to get away with it. As far as, like, let's say you want to teach a class. Teaching classes, teaching and learning are great in Mercury retrograde. But where you'll have the problems is the rescheduling of the times for the classes. You know, it's like those kind of things change a lot. So if you have a flexible group, fantastic. If you don't have a flexible group, make sure you accept payment beforehand as non-refundable, because that's the kind of thing that can happen. You can have 10 people say they're going to show up and then their plans change and then your class dissolves because because nobody's there. So it's like, if you know ahead of time that the energy is going to change, then you can prepare yourself for it. The other thing, like I said, is you can start your courses before this period of time so that you already have your crew together or whatever you're working on before these challenges start. Okay, so January 9th, we have the new moon in Capricorn. This is the best time of the year to set your intentions and make your wishes for anything business related, anything related to your place in the world. Brilliant astrologer Jan Spiller, in her book New Moon Astrology, talks about how when we line up the energies of the sign that the new moon is occurring in with the types of wishes, then they carry further. And this just makes perfect sense, because often like will attract like, and you have more power in numbers. So if you have the energy of Capricorn with the new moon, and then you have the energy of Capricorn with your wishes, and you propel them on that new moon, then they're going to go further, and you might have some pretty fast manifestations. There is an amazing book that I just found out about. Wayne Dyer is one of my teachers before he passed. After he's passed, he's still very present in my energy. And he wrote a book called something like Wishes Fulfilled. Very, very inspiring. I highly recommend that you pick it up. If you are on the path of wanting to consciously create with wishes, with the moon, with power cycles. I don't know if he talks about power cycles in there at all, but you can add that to what he's saying, as far as creating consciously in your experience, instead of just being in the passenger seat of your life, being a co-creator in your life. And maybe this time will be the time where you make momentous headway on that goal. Those are the kind of things that you can make momentous headway on in the month of January, because that's like major movement forward from digging in really deep. So that's the theme of this month. I can't see what's going on in your individual chart. If you'd like a personal reading, or if you would like to see more about my 28-day virtual coaching program called Shine, which is available on a sliding scale so that it's accessible for everyone, check it out. I've been interacting with individuals and groups for years. I have helped thousands of people along their path of conscious evolution, and I have created programs that address the blocks that I see people have in between where they are and where they want to be. So that's what the Shine program is all about. You can check it out on my website, anniehelpsyou.com. You can see more about Create Your Successful Online Business course that's enrolling now. And definitely sign up for my free email newsletter, which makes you part of my community and gives you all kinds of perks, including a monthly write-up the month before with lots of information about dates and other things that you need to know, often different or in a written version than what I talk about in the videos. So I hope you have a wonderful new year, even if it isn't a new year, and I'll see you next month. Bye.